The Man of Steel is full of surprises. Here are some weird powers you didn't know Superman had. Once upon a time, Superman could shoot a mini version of himself out of his hand. He can't do it anymore, which is unfortunate, but it was fun while it lasted for everyone but Superman. Let me explain. This was a story from 1958, Superman Volume 1, Issue 125. Eons ago, an unspecified alien race crashed their little spaceship on Earth. Superman eventually found it, but the second he touched it, it exploded. It wasn't until Superman attempted to stop some criminals a little while later that he realized all his powers, except his invulnerability, had disappeared. But to his surprise, he had gained a new power, a tiny little Superman that would shoot from his hand whenever he wanted to use his powers. So instead of Superman just using his heat vision, an extra step was added, and he first had to throw out the mini-him to get the job done. The mini-Superman appears to act on the command either spoken or mental from Superman. The people of Metropolis and around the world loved Mini-Superman. They think he's the bee's knees. Superman, on the other hand, while he thought the little guy was neat at first, he was getting tired of him pretty quick. See, Superman couldn't do anything. When the little guy was out saving the day, Superman was left on the sidelines feeling pretty useless, and we all know how much he likes to help people. As much as the comic is fun, it also delved into the emotional side of Superman grappling with the loss of his powers and how that makes him feel as a hero. Eventually, the little hero does disappear. A kryptonite meteor was headed towards Earth, and Mini-Super directed it away from Superman by physically forcing it away, causing him to disappear forever. Once the mini-hero was gone, Superman, much to his relief, gained all of his powers back. I will admit, this is my favorite random Superman power, and I wouldn't mind if it eventually made a comeback. Superman's ability to turn invisible and intangible by vibrating his molecules fast enough makes enough sense that I'm just not gonna question it too much. A notable time Superman used his super speed to turn invisible was in Superman the Man of Steel 110. He's invisible because he vibrates so fast that light just doesn't hit him. Superman showed off his intangibility in Superman Volume 2, Issue 175 during a fight against Doomsday. The villain couldn't lay a hand on the hero until he let him. This was also happening during Superman's monologue to the villain about how Doomsday used to not feel pain, so really rubbing it in his face. Superman has what is referred to as plastic features. The language that is used to describe Clark shifting his appearance makes it sound like he doesn't just shapeshift, but actually physically twists and molds his face to how he wants it to look. This power is from the Earth 2 Superman, so like the version active mainly during the Golden Age. One example of a time Superman messed with his face was in Action Comics 55. He stumbled on a fight in which the good guy was outnumbered and also physically no match for his opponents. So Superman snatched the guy out of there, twisted his features, took the guy's place, defeated the bad guys, and then switched them back. Of course, knowing that Superman has the potential to change his literal face around, why didn't he just do that to keep a secret identity? My guess is it's probably easier to take off some glasses than to reconfigure your face every time. Moving into the movies from the 1980s, Superman 2, Superman displayed his amnesia kiss power. Super fun, love the implications of this. How does it work? That is still up for debate even over 40 years later. Lois Lane, during this movie, knew Superman's secret identity, and it was weighing on her, so in an act of mercy, I guess, Clark decided to give her a super kiss that would erase her memories of his secret identity, and only that. Nothing else in her memory was affected, just those memories. For a guy that can't handle magic, it sure seems like the explanation for a lot of stuff. Many people think that the Superman 2 scene may have been inspired by early Superman comics. In Action Comics 306, Clark Kent was at the Daily Planet's Christmas party. There was some mistletoe hanging, and Lois and Clark found themselves under it. Lois promised to kiss Clark as if he were Superman, so Clark rose to the challenge and kissed her as Superman, literally giving her a super kiss. She does come up from it dizzy, so while there was no memory wipe involved, it certainly had an effect. I wonder if the magic movie kiss could be explained in a similar way to how the Professor X Moira kiss from X-Men went, that there was maybe an element of telepathy involved, especially because Superman has shown that he has the power of mind control. Again, this was in the earlier days of Superman comics in Superman 45 from 1947. The hero is shown using his telepathic will control, so technically it's not mind control, I guess if we were being specific. specific. In this comic, Superman had been kidnapped by aliens and placed in a creepy, trophy museum. He was physically incapacitated, however his mind was still active, so he used his will control against an alien wearing the tech that he would need to get home, getting them to remove it from their body. He then knocked his glass cage down and used the plastic face twisting thing we talked about before to transform into one of the aliens. He was able to grab the tech, save the other prisoners, and escape, destroying the alien tech once they all got back home. Overall, there is one major criticism when it comes to the whole Clark Kent Superman disguise thing, and that's people saying that only wearing glasses as the disguise is kind of silly. Many people claim that they would absolutely recognize someone if they just put on glasses, and now that we know about Clark's shapeshifting abilities, the man has no excuse, but maybe, just maybe, there was once a reason why Clark's glasses just did the trick. Apparently, they were once briefly hypnotizing people into believing that Clark Kent and Superman were physically different people. The way the story went is when Clark was a kid, he destroyed his glasses using his heat vision while wearing them, so he went to the rocket that delivered him and found that the glass on it happened to shatter in two perfectly rounded pieces that just happened to be the right size for his glasses, because Clark seems to have super luck too. Superman reasoned that the properties of the glass must intensify the low-level hypnotic effect of his eyes, meaning that when he wears them, they help him project what he wants people to see when he looks at them. So Clark Kent appears as scrawnier and less handsome, but the glasses come off and poof, it is strong and pretty Superman. Back in the movies, that time in 1987's Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, Superman seemingly rebuilt the Great Wall of China after it was destroyed. However, it appeared he did it just by looking at it. Now, we already know that Superman can make himself vibrate so quickly he can turn invisible, so maybe he was just moving so fast we didn't see it. Either way, it's a giggle-worthy moment for many super fans. Superman's power of total memory was once mentioned in Superman 156. Basically, he contracted a deadly virus and he was just trying to remember anything he could about it from his life back on Krypton before, when he was a baby, meaning he was accessing his total memory power, what we would all call eidetic memory. Now, it seems that if you put super in front of anything, it is now a Superman power. So here are just a few incredible ones that I came across during my research for this video. Super mathematics. Instead of just saying that Superman was a genius, they went with this. Then there was super heartbeat control. Some villains tried to hurt Superman using kryptonite, only it wasn't real kryptonite, but Superman had to make them believe he had passed on, so he just stopped his heart. Super ventriloquism. Superman is able to make it sound like his voice is coming from another location, even projecting his voice all around the world. That could also be referred to as super yelling, which he has also done. The Golden Age was certainly an era of fun and the gift that kept on giving. But what do you think? Let us know. Bye!